Hi. Hi, everybody. So, my name is Artur. This is my second presentation on WarsawJS. And today I'm going to tell you something about Node like a pro. Now, this is a very big title for the presentation. Basically, I want to tell you about very useful but not commonly known tools that will help you with your Node development. And why is that? Because for myself, I've been coding in Node for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or so. And I've noticed that recently I only found out about very useful tools that speed up my development process greatly. And I wish that somebody would came to me and say, yo, you're doing this wrong. Don't do it. You're wasting a lot of time. Take this tool. It will help you a lot. It will make your life easy. So hopefully, I will present a couple of those tools that you don't know about, and it will make your life more easier. So that's my motivation behind it. And the tools I'm going to present today are Node daemon, Node inspector. Probably about Node inspector most of you should know, but still I'm going to say about it. Iron Node, NVM, PM2, and HTTP proxy. Is something not visible? I think so, okay. So, and with the last one, we will have a little bit of code, so yay for code. If somebody knows all of the tools, you can leave, go grab a beer or something. So, let's dive it in. Node daemon. Well, when you start a new project, well, at least when I start my new project, this is what I do. I git init, I npm install everything, I open my terminal emulator, I open my IDE, and I start typing, right? And after a while, I want to check if my code is ready, if something, if something is working or not. So this is how I do it, or how I used to do it. This is, let's assume that this is my code. This is my IDE. I've got it, I want to test it. Let's go to the terminal. Okay, it does not work. Let's go back to the IDE. Let's test it once more after some changes, etc., etc., etc. This is this infinite loop, right? And this is the keyboard combination that I've been using for that. So I'm killing the node process. I'm going one up in the history of my terminal, right? And I'm hitting enter to restart the process once again. So who does that? Anybody? A lot of people. Okay, so you will learn something, hopefully. And you know, I've been doing this for years and years, and I thought that this is part of what Node platform is, and this is the way it has to be done. But you know, once I thought, well, maybe there's a tool for that. Maybe it's something will speed up this development process. And there is. It's called Node daemon. Basically, it works like an alternate Node.js launcher. So you just type Node daemon instead of Node, and then everything you normally use to launch your application. And the cool thing about it, it monitors change in all of your working directory. So, and if it finds any change, it will automatically restart your application. So you don't have to, you know, Control-C, arrow up, enter, restart manually all the time the process. Node daemon does this for you. And installation, well, pretty much simple. By the way, this is all the tools I'm going to talk today about. This is the way we install them. Simple. And this is the way, as I said, you launch it. Now your application, now the Node daemon listens for any changes. If any change will be found, it will automatically restart your application. But there's more to that. Because, well, obviously, you can pass some arguments to your application so it doesn't destroy your application development, the flow of your application, right? But sometimes you may have some directories or files that you don't want Node daemon to listen to. So there's a flag for that. Ignore. For example, those might be unit tests, because if I change unit test, I don't expect my project to be relaunched. Or you can go the other way around and say, hey, no daemon, watch only for the app and no modules directories. If something changes, then restart my application. If no, okay, don't do anything. And other cool feature is that no daemon can be used with different non-node scripts, for example, with Python. So you can basically execute any bash shell command using the exec flag, and it will work the same way. Or if you have a really huge application that it takes a lot of time to boot up and you're working on a lot of files, you may want to use the option delay. For example, after the first change, no daemon will wait 3 seconds until it will restart the application. So that's pretty cool, that's pretty useful. And yeah, that's about it, about the node daemon. But I really think it's really cool, really speeds up the development at the beginning. So as I mentioned, Node Inspector and Iron Node. Anybody knows Node Inspector? Oh, I thought that more people would know about it. Okay, so how do you debug your Node.js application? Anybody debugs Node.js applications? Not a lot of people. All right. So does anybody does this? Console log, console log, console log all the time? Really? Come on. Okay. So my idea was, aren't there tools like dev tools from Chrome or Firefox or Microsoft Edge that will allow me to see what's going on in the code instead of writing down console log every time I want to check something? And obviously, there are such tools. This is Node Inspector, and it's basically implementation of the Chrome's DevTools, which are also a web application. And you can access it inside your web browser. So, and it works basically the same as your Chrome DevTools. Well, not this slide. Okay, so we can go. Installation, and the way you run it, the same like with the Node daemon, just works like closer to the microphone. Okay, it works just an alternate launcher for your application. So the usage is pretty simple, and the features, well, it goes all of the Chrome DevTools features, apart from, I don't know, CSS, animation, this stuff. It uses WebSocket for communications, which is very good, because having that, we can use remote debugging. So my application might be on a different server running there, and I can, using Node Inspector, connect to it and debug it using being on my local machine. And last but not least, obviously you can do live edit of your running code, that's pretty standard, but it has the option to actually save your edits to the file system, so you don't have to go back to IDE and do the same edits once again. So it's pretty neat. Some advanced stuff, you don't have to run it like a Node launcher-like command. You can, by using Node Inspector, you can launch it in a standalone server mode, and this is cool because you can use multiple Node applications, and you can connect them using the standard Node debug protocol to that server and access it through the web browser. And this one line is how you can enable live edit saves to the file system. So the usage is pretty simple, and debugging the application, having this tool is way, way better than just console log. But there's this other tool called Iron Node. Well, basically it does the same thing as the node inspector, although the creator of Iron Node says, no, it's different, it has a little bit different workflow, it's a different idea behind it, but to me it's all the same, with some exceptions. Firstly, it's more like of a standalone application, so you don't have any server-client communication. You won't be able to access it through web browser. It's only running on your local machine. Sometimes that might be the case for you if you're into, I don't know, security or whatever. Other cool feature is that it comes with its own version of Node or IO.js or whatever it's underneath, because the code is a little bit old. And it might be cool because you won't have any issues with your current version of your node. You don't have to change anything. It's there, it's standalone, it doesn't have any impact on your node environment. And if you really like different colors than standard one, it's themable if you want. So that's how it looks. Pretty cool, right? Nah. Black colors, nah, who is that? So yeah, those are the debug tools. Now the NVM. Whoops. Let's go back. NVM. Okay. In theory, most of the nodes API is backward compatible. Most of it. But sometimes we have this issue that we have application using, I don't know, old Node module, or even we are using some deprecated API that on new version of Node is not available, it will not run, our application will crash. What to do? Where I used to do the following step. I've uninstalled my version of Node, I download the required version of Node, and I've installed it. So that's pretty lame, right? I mean, why I should change my entire Node environment for one project that requires different version of Node? So obviously there's a tool for that. It's called NVM. That's short for Node Version Manager. Yeah, very innovative. But it allows us to change the versions very easily. And basically, it works in two different modes. First one is global mode. Before using it, actually, after installing it, you first need to download any of the version node you want to use. And you do it by nvm install and the version of Node. So for example, application that requires Node 0.12, this is how you do it. Now you get it installed, and you can choose one of two modes how to use your NVM. And the first one is global usage. So you just type NVM use and the version of your node, and it will change the global binaries of Node in entire system. So your entire operating system will use that version. That might be pretty cool concept, but to me, I think more sense makes the other way of using it, so the local usage. And it does, basically, it allows you to run your scripts, and only those selected scripts on a different version that's available globally in your operating system. So to run just Node script with different Node version, nvm run the version and the file name of your script. But you can also use the exec flag to run any, for example, bash script, and that bash script, or any bash command, whatever, and this command, this bash script here, will have access to that node. So it will think it uses the node 0.12, but in fact, and it will be using this node, but in fact, in your whole operating system, there will be a newer or older version of Node. It will not, change it. But unfortunately, with NVM, there are some issues that I stumble across. Some launcher-like programs, NodeDemon, for example, or Node Inspector, but I don't think there is an issue with NodeDemon, but they can be. They sometimes crash when using NVM. So you have to keep that in mind, that sometimes it might be a little bit painful. But in most of the cases, it works pretty well. Now, okay, let's say that we have our application running on the version of Node that we want. We have debugged it, we have created it. We want to push it to production, right? So we push it to production. Everything is working good, cool. We leave it there. And after a few hours, error. Did anybody had this error with Node on production? No? Damn, lucky people. Yeah, I had this a lot of times, all the time. And that's not always my fault, because sometimes you use a library that doesn't handle exceptions very well. So, but assuming even if it's my fault, what can I do? I can restart my application. That's the fastest, right? I can debug my application. I can apply hotfix, but still I'm not 100% sure that my application is there and will be always there. I don't know where. I cannot sleep at night, basically, because it can crash again. So I can test more. I can add more try-catch statements, because why not? I can hire a QA guy to check my application, but I will never be 100% sure if my application is safe or not. If it crashes in the middle of the night, well, bad luck. So what can I do? I can use PM2. PM2 is process manager for Node. And the cool feature about it, it will automatically restart any application that crashed. Kind of similar like the NodeDemon, right? It restarted after changing files. This will restart after crashing. Other cool features is that you can launch multiple instances of your single instance application. So for example, I have web server running on the port 80, and I can launch 3 instances of that server, and I don't have to change anything in the code, because PM2 wraps up my server and provides for example, network interfaces in the way, so my application still thinks that it is running in a single instance on the port 80, but in fact there are a couple of instances of my application running on different ports, but outside PM2 it's still one application running on the port 80. So that's pretty cool. You can restart the instances if they exceeded given memory limit. So if you're expecting a lot of memory leaks, this is a cool option. And you can basically manage your logs better using PM2. Now, usage pretty simple. PM2 start the application. Cool. If I want to have application running in 5 instances, flag I, number 5, done. No changes required in my application. If I want to have my application restarted after it exceeds some kind of memory limit, just add max memory restart and the value here. Funny fact about that, I've done it in work and on our development server, and you know what I forget? letter. I gave my Node instances 1 kilobyte of memory. PM2 was so good that I noticed this 2 weeks later when I got to the logs, because I wanted to check something in the logs, and I kept seeing that it's restarting and restarting. You know, 3 instances of that application, and whole development team, 2 weeks, we didn't saw that something's wrong. So PM2 is really cool, really advanced technology, best of the best, I might say. Other features, you can see what's going on. I didn't use that feature, obviously. So, yeah. But you can list all the instances. You can see, probably you cannot see because it's dark and small letters, but the mode it is. Whether it's a fork, a cluster, or single instance mode, whatever, you can see how many memory is taking and where are the logs placed. Or you can use real-time monitoring by using PM2 Monit. So you have this really nice bar charts in the real time. Well, other features, it can watch on the directory that your application is running. So kind of like no daemon, but when you deploy your application to the production, it will find out, okay, something changed, let's restart. This is pretty cool. And last, programmatic API. Basically, you can program everything that PM2 can do using its API. Obviously, there's a package for Node to do it, so I can start my script and it can check how many instances are using how many memories. I can launch from my script other instances. I can do everything from script, so it's pretty cool. And the last tool I want to tell you about today, the Node proxy, the one with code. Okay, so we have this situation right now. We know how to develop our application. We know how to put it on production. But this is only one application. What if I want to have multiple applications on my server, right? Let's say there are web applications, web servers. So each of them want to run on the port 80. But I can only have one port 80 available outside to the world, right? So the usual solution of that is either you run all of the application on different ports and you use some kind of router, or you use maybe Docker containers, why not? And still you need some kind of routing for that. And usually we're taking Apache or Nginx or other web servers that has vhosts and is capable of doing routing to handle this. But, okay, why? For the pure sake of doing everything in Node, I was interested if it's possible to do only a pure production setup with Node. And guess what? There is. It's called HTTP proxy. And basically it's a, well, as the name says, proxy. But it supports HTTP and HTTPS requests. And it's cool because it can intercept errors. So it's pretty cool if you don't have any errors in your application. You can show a generic error. And it's pretty great in routing. And literally 8 lines of code. Whoops. And you're done. You just require HTTP proxy. You create server that supports host names. And here is where you write your routing. So every traffic from domain 1 goes on localhost this port. Every traffic from domain 2 goes to this port. Everything is listening on port 80. That's that. So that's it, as it seems. I hope that my presentation will be helpful to somebody, that I've showed you some useful Node production professional tools. So thank you.
So it's time for questions. Questions. You can also submit your question with hashtag WarsawJS22 if you're watching us on the live stream, and we will also try to answer your question.
So no question
there
means
is a
no
question.
one understand anything. Oh, one question. All right.
So if you already use PM2 to monitor and restart your main process, can you use the same PM2 to monitor your node proxy? Or do you have to
Yeah, obviously.
in one PM2?
In one PM2 you can have multiple instances of multiple scripts running, and yeah, I forgot to mention about this. That's a good idea because you know that your router is up and running also every time because PM2 takes care of that.
Thanks, that's great.
Any other questions? All right, no more questions.
Okay, so I'm sad nobody wanted to ask me more questions.
Well, or maybe one second. I'm going to see if there is any question on live stream. Okay, no hashtag WarsawJS22. All right.
Okay,
So thanks a lot.
thank you.
Congratulations.